Omar Ahmed, IFL TV, MTK Global. We're at Frederick's Restaurant. Beautiful day, lovely lunch.
It is, lovely day in London.
Yeah. Here for obviously Nathan Gorman and Daniel Dubois. Huge fight, July 13th at the O2. Just talk to me about it.
Well, it's a big fight. It's two young bucks, both undefeated. They're the next generation of the heavyweights coming through in this country and indeed in the world. It's not a fight that I wanted to make. It was forced on us in some ways by the fact that the Border Control ordered the fight between Joe Joyce and Daniel, and Joe decided that he wanted to vacate the title to move on to bigger, what he felt was bigger fights. And so the next guy in was Nathan. And I would have preferred to put the fight on him probably by the end of the year, but neither of them would pull out. So we got a fight with these two young bucks who both fancy the fight big time, fancy their chances, and that's great for the fans.
I think the general consensus is that Daniel wins by stoppage or Nathan wins by points. Is that how you see it as well, Frank?
I don't know. You know, it's. I'm looking at both of them today. They actually look different people than they did when we announced the fight. You know, they've trained. They obviously, you know, committed professionals and trained really well. You know, Daniel looks much bigger, and Nathan looks much trimmer. So I expect him to use their physical attributes that they've got. They're both good punchers. Daniel's obviously the bigger guy, and he's got the longer reach and the jab. And Daniel has got, he's probably got a bit more movement. He rolls in with his shots. So I think it's going to be. I think the style's going to be so contrasting. I think you're going to get something a little bit special out of it.
What do you think this fight does for the heavyweight division moving forward? What sort of impact does it have?
Well, the winner's going to be well and truly on the world stage. He's going to be up there, and it's a big situation. But it's not the end. It's not the end of the world either for the loser. You know, when I made
Groves de Gaulle, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, made that years ago, and they fought each other very early stage of their careers, and they both won at the world titles. It's all, you know, a loss is not the end of the world for a fighter, but more importantly, you know, for these two guys to show that they're willing to step up, and the fact that neither of them want to pull out the fight, both of them feel they've got the beat in the other guy. It's just going to be it's going to be a fantastic fight. I really do believe it's going to be a real good quality heavyweight fight, and the winner, no doubt about it, is going to put yourself up there in contention by the time Tyson, Deontay Wilder and Ruiz, maybe Joshua, whoever it's going to be, time that all shakes out, they're going to have to fight.
Interesting. Another example is obviously Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, who saw Derek lose them two fights, and he's gone on to make so many paydays.
Well, he has. I mean, he lost them, and the second fight with Tyson, he was coming off a massive, big roll of good wins against decent opponents, and he got taken to school by Tyson. And Tyson, very next fight, went out and won the world title against in Germany against Klitschko. So it's a big, it doesn't, as I say, it's this heavyweight division. It's up and down and all over the place, but nobody can say with any confidence what's going to happen on the 13th. Nobody at all. And then you've got Joe Joyce's fight on there as well, which is another cracking fight. So it's really great for the heavyweight division. I think we've got the three best young talents in the world in the UK, and they're all in action on the 13th.
Well, hopefully Joe comes through that against Jennings, and wouldn't the natural fight for the winner of this fight to fight Joe for the British title?
Well, again, it'd be a big fight for the winners to fight each other, but we will see what happens and how that pans out. But one thing for sure, whoever wins, those fights will happen down the road, there's no doubt about it.
Frank, I do want to touch upon Tyson Fury, main man in the division, Ring Magazine #1 now. There's been talks of him possibly fighting Jarrell Miller. You went on Talk Sport and kind of defended that fight. There's been a lot of criticism about that potential fight from other people. Have you seen that?
Who's the other people? Hearn?
Yeah.
Well, let's say how it is. I'm not, governing bodies are there to police the sport. They're there. I'm not the policeman of the sport. It's up to them to decide if a boxer's done wrong. And if they've done wrong, if they feel that giving people 6-month ban for taking performance-enhancing drugs is correct, I can't do nothing about it. I don't agree with that. I think if people are cheating, there should be some severe penalties. However, excuse me, as I say, that's not for me to, that's not my job. My job is for my boxers to fight guys who are licensed to box, and if they're licensed to box, I'll make the matches. For her to come out about that is quite ironic and hypocritical, considering that he had no problems putting Daniel Jacobs in with Canelo, who was banned for 6 months. He has no problem in promoting Dillian White, who been, I think, was it a couple of years or a year he banned he had?
He got banned for a pre-workout. And
Lucas
Brown.
And it's Lucas Brown, you know him all that. So all those, you know better than I, and I don't want to go into a big long list, so it's a load of old bullshit. At the end of the day, you want to get to the nitty-gritty of it. The governing bodies need to be responsible, and they need to deal with drug taking. The only way you're going to deal with that, stop giving 6-month bans, give proper bans to the fighters, and then we can all live with that. You're going to keep licensing them, so if they're not fighting for me, they're going to fight for somebody else, and if I feel that's a fight that my guy can win, I'll make it.
Frank, I do want to ask you, in terms of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, we've seen Canelo being made the franchise champion, this new WBC thing. They might do the same with other weight classes, and they could do
I don't even know what's that mean.
I have no idea, Frank, to be honest.
Listen, Canelo is what he is. He's a you know, of his generation. He's one of the top fighters. He does, you know, whatever you want to call the belts or franchise or world champions. I don't know what they all are. He's a guy that, you know, whenever he fights, because of his Hispanic background, the fact that he's you know, that he fights on Mexican public holidays, they generate huge income for the casinos and also for the pay-per-view in the States. That's all that matters. So what he decides to do next, I don't know. We're hearing all sorts of things. We've got a situation where Anthony Yarde is the mandatory challenger for Kovalev, and we negotiate that fight to take place on the 29th of June. For whatever reason, it didn't take place, and we're very close to getting the contract signed to make that fight happen between the two of them in Russia. In the meantime, we're hearing and seeing all this news about
Canelo and Kovalev.
You keep jumping in there, mate. Canelo and Kovalev. And if that happens, that's got to be with the consent of Anthony Yarde. And if it does happen, then we'll make it. Then that's going to be his call. But that will only happen on certain circumstances regarding financial recompense, and more importantly, that the winner fights Anthony. But that's going to be Anthony Yarde's choice or decision at the end of the day. I don't think the Canelo-Golovkin fight's going to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then it opens another door now for Billy Joe Saunders, who would fight Golovkin in a heartbeat, no problem with that. And we also made an offer which has finally been acknowledged by Callum Smith for him to fight Billy Joe. Callum was unaware of that offer, so I understand. I sent it to his manager on the 6th of June. I don't know why he was unaware of it, but anyway, that's there, up for them to sort that out. But the bottom line is, you know, there's a big fight there again for the British public between two fantastic fighters, undefeated fighters, in a unification match. So we're open to make all these fights. You know, we're not frightened of making fights for our fighters. You know, the best man to win on the night.
Right. Eddie also said that an offer came in for John Ryder as well, and Billy Joe. Yeah,
we're making the offers. I mean, you know, blimey, acknowledged he actually got an offer. So we made an offer for John Ryder. You know, any of them to fight Bill. Bill wants a fight. I want him out in September, and we're looking for fights for him, and fights that, you know, hopefully will be good fights for the public.
Right. You mentioned Billy Joe and Golovkin. With Golovkin having this contract with DAZN, do you think that's likely going to be happening?
What, with Bill?
Bill, yeah.
You're going to fight in DAZN.
But I mean,
that's America. I ain't got a problem with that stuff. They you know, we make that fight. It can go on DAZN.
But with the fact that Tom Loeffler and Golovkin, you've reached out to those guys before, and you know, you've signed contracts on your half before. Do you think they want any part of Billy Joe Saunders?
No, I don't. I think they're very wary of Bill. You know, the fight, you know, certainly the last fight back, but certainly in the fight against Lemieux, he's certainly scared off Canelo. There's no doubt about that. I know that because I was sitting at ringside with Eric Gomez, and I could see his face, and I looked at him, and he looks at me, he's going to say, "Forget that one."
We've just seen Andrade defend his belt. I think Billy put something on Twitter today about Andrade. Is that kind of dead in the water, that one?
I've got to be honest, it is what it is, and we'll see. But at the moment, that's not our priority. Our priority is to deliver a big fight for Bill. We're looking for a big fight for him, and a fight that the fans can buy into. That's what we're looking for.
So you Callum Smith, your Golovkins, Canelos, that's it really for Billy?
Well, do you know what? You just said names there, big names. That's what we're looking at. We've made offers. We've contacted people. We can't do no more than we're doing. And that tells you a lot about Billy Joe Saunders, the fact that he'll fight any of them. He hasn't got a problem fighting any one of those guys, but they're all avoiding him.
Just the last one, Frank. On Tyson Fury, back to him. So is the plan to box one more guy and then do the Wilder rematch?
Well, I think in an ideal world, that's what we'd like to happen. The fact is that Deontay's got a fight, it looks like, against Ortiz in autumn, and that means that Tyson's not going to be sitting around on his backside, and he will have a fight, and then let the two guys get it on early next year.
So I guess that's why the name of Jarrell Miller's been touted. He could be an option, because it looks like Tyson might be heading to New York.
His last fight, he fought in the States against a German in Vegas. An Englishman against a German in Vegas. We'd like an American opponent for him. That's what we want for him. And that makes a lot of sense for ESPN, for the American public, and certainly for us, because he wants to make a big splash out there. He wants to continue building his reputation and his profile out there, and that it would be great if it was an American in the opposite corner.
Well, I guess outside of Deontay Wilder, there isn't really a big American name in that division, bar Jarrell Miller, really.
Well, him and anybody else any other Yanks that are there that he can fight. But Tyson doesn't like Bill, doesn't shy away from fights. Tyson's the guy. No matter what anyone wants to talk about anything, he's the guy that went to Germany to fight Klitschko and went to America to fight Wilder. That tells you all you need to know about Tyson Fury.
Absolutely. Frank One, appreciate your time today.
Cheers, Umar.
And we'll catch up soon.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Right, little slap.
Take that, you bastard.